We are going to start this session straight away. And the different presentations till the lunch break will go a long way towards giving us an insight into how different case studies have been successful and how they can be implemented in different parts of our country. First of all, we have land reclamation for productive economic use, a case of Bhopal City Corporation. We have with us the Assistant Engineer of Bhopal Municipal Corporation, Mr. Saurabh Sood, who has been working as a part of the Swachh Bharat mission for more than 7 years, and is carrying out his duties in Swachh Bharat Mission Department. And through these years of experience, he had successfully executed the work of bioremediation and scientific closure of Bhanpura dumpsite, construction of scientific landfill site, and so on. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause, and I would request Mr. Saurabh Sood to kindly come over and present for the next 10 minutes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Saurabh Sood. I am working as an assistant engineer in Bhopal Municipal Corporation in Swachh Bharat Mission. I'd like to present the case of Bhopal Municipal Corporation, how we executed the work of bioremediation and scientific closure of our existing dump site at Bhanpura. So, as said by our previous speakers about the legacy waste and how to manage it, it's a hybrid model where we separated the case in 3 parts. That is, firstly, we bioremediated and biomined the fresh waste that before the closure of that dump site. Secondly, we went for the land reclamation project. And thirdly, we kept and scientifically closed the existing dump site. So these are the kind of salient features. Firstly, for the existing dump site, what we did was that it started from an NGT order where the existing dump site was in the center of the city. It was consisting about 1.1 million cubic meter of legacy waste, which was spread over 37 acres of precious land in the center of the city. The order came where NGT directed to close the site and bioremediate and make it comfortable for the citizens living around. So in 2017, we started preparing the DPR. We hired the consultants. We hired ICUC consultants for preparation of DPR, in which the outcome was that our legacy waste was spreaded over 37 acres. So we decided about the contour survey was done, in which 37 acres of land was completely filled with the legacy waste containing height of about 5 to 8 meters. So we divided how we progressed towards this project. It is that firstly we identified the key issue. Uncontrolled waste dumping was going on. The waste stream was having a mixed type of nature, and it was unscientifically laid around. That caused contamination of soil, groundwater, and ambient air quality. It was also a health hazard to the neighborhood settlement. These were the salient features of the project, in which 37 acres of land was identified carrying out the legacy waste. The waste quantity that came out from the contour survey was about 11 lakh cubic meters. We went for the capping, in which the tender was floated in such a way that we hired the concessionaire, giving us the maximum land of reclamation. So the L1 bidder, which was Saurashtra, was giving us the maximum land to be reclaimed. That was about 21 acres. And the 16 acres of land was to be kept and closed scientifically. So when we went on with the execution of work, we have to utilize the waste that was about 30%. So that the project has to be done in 3 years of time. We went for the processing of about 1,80,000 tons of waste that was put down in the recent times. And for this, we proposed a 600 TPD waste processing plant, and also a leachate treatment plant having a capacity of 50 KLD. These were the activities done. Like I said, there were three parts. Firstly, it was a biomining and reclamation of land. Secondly, we did for closure of dump site. And thirdly, the post closure of the site. The contract was broken up in two parts. That was firstly a capex part and then secondly an opex part. The capex part consisted of bioremediation of the waste, secondly the capping, and thirdly the land reclamation. Then the opex part was considered to be 5-year post closure plan. The figures are there mentioned. So these are the activities step by step that were taken at Bhanpur dump site. Firstly, we collected all the datas, the dump site containment, closure plan, and cross sections of the profiling we made. Stormwater management plant, leachate treatment plant, the gases, the harmful gases that were generating in the waste, that was taken care of. Then plan for reclamation of land, bioremediation and waste processing plan, environment management plan, and then all these step by step we took about. This was the area I want to show in the kind of plan. It is a plan of the existing dump site. You can see that this contour was surveyed about 37 acres land, which was near about the overbridge, which was approach of overbridge, and nearby the railway line. So all we know that when we go for a dump site, the waste was put on uncontrolledly. So the fresh waste was nearby where the vehicles can approach, and the back part of the site was the legacy waste, more about having the waste of 30 to 40 years. So we kind of proposed this kind of plan that for the fresh waste, where the fresh waste was put up on this site, we have to bioremediate it and we have to biomine it, and then we have to reclaim that area. And then where the inactive waste was there, which was not having any biological activities and which needs to be kept with this scientifically. This is the cross section area where we went for the capping. Firstly, the profiling of waste which was inactive, then we covered it with gas drainage layer of about 300 mm. Then we went for a leachate collection system, and then we put a geo clay liner, or you can call it as a geo membrane. Then there was a gas drainage layer, HDP liner, and then after the geo membrane, it was being covered with the soil of about 450 mm to retain the soil in a profile which was having a level difference of 1:3 slope. We put in the geocell for stability, soil stability. These are the major project benefits what we get out of this waste processing. That there was an environmental and social aspect which was solved out about after the project, which also this project also helped us in commercial aspects and reduction of greenhouse gases and giving employments to the person involved. About the project, it was about 52.38 crores was spent on this, which was break in two parts. The capex was 42 crores, and then post closure plan of 5 years, which costed us about 10 crores. BMC reclaimed about 21 acres of land. That was a major part of the project. BMC reclaimed 21 acres of precious land, which is now worth about 105 crores in the collector guideline. So the project, the money we spent on this project was about 52 crores, and we got the double the amount from this. Also, the 52 crores grant was got by us from two parts. That was central share was 35%, the state share was 23%. So that's how we financially progressed in the project. These are the some pictures before the project. It was the waste was dumped in a haphazard manner. You can see the waste lying near the overbridge. Then we set up the waste treatment plant. Then this is how we went for the profiling work. This is a gas drainage system which laid about 300 mm. Also the fruitful part was that the 3R concept which we hear about, that reduce, recycle and reuse. The construction and demolition waste that was recovered from this site was used in the toe wall construction and the drainage layer. So this was the kind of 3R use of the recovered material. Also, Bhopal is having C&D plant, construction and demolition waste recovery plant. So the construction and demolition waste that was generated also was being processed by the plant, and we made the paver blocks out of it, which was being used in this whole project. This is a leachate system and leachate treatment plant. This is what it looks like after the completion of project. The front part was reclaimed part, and then the capping was done in the rest of the area. These are the geocells that we use for the stability of soil, to maintain the stability of soil. The soil filling we did, and now for development as a green area, we encouraged it. So this is the final look what we did out of land reclamation project. Also the test reports are being shared with you for the betterment, how it improved the air quality and water quality, surface water and bore water. The results shows the improvement. Also, our Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh appreciated this work and visited the site personally, and he appreciated a lot for this project. We also got support from print media about this project. Thank you. I like to share a small video for this project. We prepared it.
नगर निगम भोपाल सीमा क्षेत्र अंतर्गत भानपुर डंप साइट, जिसमें लगभग 40 से 45 वर्षों से कचरा डंप किया जा रहा था। यह डंप साइट 37 एकड़ भूमि पर फैली हुई थी। इसमें लगभग 12 लाख क्यूबिक मीटर कचरे का ऊंचा पहाड़ बन चुका था। एक और जहां गंदगी एवं बदबू से आसपास के रहवासियों का जीना दूभर था, वहीं दूसरी ओर भूमिगत जल प्रदूषण, भूमि प्रदूषण एवं वायु प्रदूषण का खतरा भी बढ़ गया था। अंततः नगर निगम भोपाल ने 3 वर्ष पूर्व स्वच्छ भारत मिशन अभियान के अंतर्गत इस डंप साइट के साइंटिफिक क्लोजर का निर्णय लिया।
भोपाल नगर निगम के एरिया के अंतर्गत भानपुर क्षेत्र में कचरा की डंपिंग होती थी। लगभग 50 सालों से उधर इतना कचरा डल गया था, प्रॉपर रूप से डिस्पोजल ना हो पाने कारण उधर 12 लाख क्यूबिक मीटर की कचरा इकट्ठा हो गया था। इससे मतलब पर्यावरण के दृष्टिकोण से काफी दिक्कत हो रहा था। 3 वर्ष पूर्व उधर कचरा डंप करना बंद करके एक प्रॉपर साइंटिफिक रेमिडिएशन और बायो रेमिडिएशन काम प्रारंभ किया गया था। इससे टोटल 37 एकड़ की जो एरिया है जहां पर कचरा का डंप थी, उसमें 21 एकड़ की लैंड रिक्लेम किया गया और 16 एकड़ की भूमि पर ग्रीन बेल्ट की डेवलपमेंट हो रही है। जो 21 एकड़ की भूमि रिक्लेम किया गया, उसमें म्युनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन के द्वारा एक ISBT बस स्टैंड को विकसित किया जा रहा है और कमर्शियल एरिया एक रेसिडेंशियल प्रोजेक्ट में लिया जा रहा है। ये एक अच्छे एग्जाम्पल है जहां पर पूरा का पूरा पर्यावरण के दृष्टिकोण से भी और स्वच्छता के दृष्टिकोण से भी भूमि को वापस अच्छा से रिउपयोग करना और रिक्लेमेशन मतलब प्रॉपर साइंटिफिक रूप से करते हुए ग्रीन बेल्ट की डेवलप करने के लिए काम किया गया है। ये भोपाल नगर निगम के लिए भी और भोपाल शहर के लिए भी एक गौरवपूर्ण उपलब्धि है, जो सबके लिए हम लोग धन्यवाद देना चाहते हैं इसमें प्रोजेक्ट में जिन्होंने सहयोग किया है। थैंक यू।
नगर निगम के द्वारा अनुबंधित व अधिकृत एजेंसियों के द्वारा वैज्ञानिक पद्धति से कचरे का जैविक उपचार कर रिसाइकिल करने की प्रक्रिया शुरू की। इस प्रक्रिया में बायो माइनिंग, बायो टैपिंग एवं बायो रेमिडिएशन पद्धति से कचरे का पद्धतिकरण एवं उपचार किया गया। कचरा पृथक्करण के दौरान प्राप्त ज्वलनशील अपशिष्ट प्लास्टिक आदि को RDF के रूप में सीमेंट एजेंसी व वेस्ट टू एनर्जी प्लांट में भेजना सुनिश्चित किया गया एवं शेष कचरे को जैविक खाद के रूप में रिकवर कर पार्क, गार्डन एवं हरित क्षेत्र में भेजा गया। साथ ही शेष C&D वेस्ट को भी क्लोजर की संरचना में उपयोग में लाया गया। इस तरह उपचारित कचरे को 27 मीटर ऊंचे पार्क के रूप में विकसित किया गया। यह ग्रीनफील्ड 16 एकड़ में बनाया गया। शेष 21 एकड़ भूमि को पुनः उपयोगी हेतु रिक्लेम किया गया। यह देश का पहला ऐसा प्रोजेक्ट है जिसमें अधिकतम भूमि रिक्लेम की गई है। भानपुर डंप साइट रेमिडिएशन से न केवल पर्यावरण संरक्षण होगा बल्कि क्षेत्र के आर्थिक विकास में भी गति आएगी। नगर निगम भोपाल ने इस अभिनव प्रयास के द्वारा कचरा प्रबंध और लीगेसी वेस्ट के रिक्लेमेशन के क्षेत्र में सर्वोत्कृष्ट उदाहरण प्रस्तुत किया है।
मैं पिछले 10 साल से भानपुर में रहता हूँ। इसके पहले यहाँ पे कचरे और खंती की वजह से बहुत सारी गंदगियाँ होती थी, आग लगने का डर होता था, आग लगती रहती थी। लेकिन पिछले कुछ सालों में देखा जाए तो अब यकीन नहीं होता कि ये इतना बड़ा जो कचरे का ढेर पहले हुआ करता था वो इतने सुंदर गार्डन में बदल गया है। और पहले यहाँ पे जीना मुश्किल था, गंदगी, बदबू, बहुत सारी चीज़ें होती थी, अब वो सब नहीं होता है।
पुनः उपयोगी हेतु प्राप्त भूमि पर व्यवसायिक गतिविधियों के माध्यम से रेवेन्यू जनरेट करने की भी निगम की योजना है। इस तरह से नगर निगम भोपाल शहर में स्वच्छता बनाए रखने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध एवं दृढ़ संकल्पित है।
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Shri Saurabh Sood. We now move on to the next presentation, the case study of financing legacy waste remediation for large cities. We have with us Shri Akshy Sridhar, the Commissioner of Mangalore City Corporation. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Akshy Sridhar.
A very good afternoon to one and all. I am Akshy Sridhar, Commissioner, Mangalore City Corporation. So, in Mangalore, just like in all other cities, we have this persistent problem of legacy waste, which became more pronounced in 2019 following heavy rainfall. And unfortunately, because of the Pachanadi dump sites, unique terrain and Mangalore's unique geography, the problems that we were facing only got multifold. So with that as the challenge, so we had to take up the entire exercise of legacy waste management. And today in these 10 minutes, I thought although the specific topic is to speak more on how to finance the legacy waste project, especially in case of big cities, I also thought it will be pertinent to share what Mangalore went through, what are the challenges that Mangalore uniquely faced, and how the entire idea of financing that came about. So a bit of background before we jump into the actual issue. So Mangalore is prone to heavy rains, which very heavy rainfall ranging from 3 to 6 months a year. So in 2019, what happened is once the heavy rainfall started, our dump site area, which was situated on a bit of a hilltop, so started sliding. And suddenly, in July 2019, the slide became more pronounced, and about 17.25 acres of area was engulfed with waste, which included 24 houses, acres and acres of plantations, and even one temple. So, and the bigger environmental issue was that a small stream of river, which eventually connected to Maravur Dam, was also lying just beneath the area where this landslide had happened. So, burdened with this and also not sure how to proceed at that point of time, since in 2019, we were still in a very nascent stage of handling legacy waste, and nowhere in Karnataka has it been done so far. And even the DPR had to be prepared immediately. And also Honorable High Court of Karnataka had a PIL filed by the State Legal Service Authority in writ petition number 9367, in which the corporation, the government, and Karnataka State Pollution Control Board were made parties. So on this case also made us to accelerate the entire proceedings. So these are some of the facts from the heavy landfill landslide that happened in 2019. So two villages, parts of two villages were engulfed in waste. So total area right now it stands at 77 crores. The earlier dump site area was about 25 crores and 25 acres and 17 acres were added with the landslide. So 42 acres of waste is what we have right now, and the estimated waste is approximated to be about 9 lakh tons of waste. So we had to take up all immediate evacuation measures of the people, rehabilitation, awarding of compensation and all of it. So at the same point of time, we also had to ensure that this problem does not come up any further, because every kg of waste that we are going to add to this dump site without having adequate processing capacity in the corporation was going to be an environmental burden and also an economic as well as a social burden. So these are some of the pictures from the time the landslide happened. The first picture on the left is a drone image that was captured when the monsoon was happening, and the second and third pictures show how the areas got affected. Some more pictures from the damage that actually accrued. So the damage was not just restricted to these 17 acres, but also we had heavy leachate issues because of the rainfall and the slopey terrain. We had heavy leachate issues, and because of which open wells in the surrounding areas were affected. Crops growing in the surrounding areas were affected. Drinking water sources were affected. So we had to tackle multiple problems at the same time. So these are the factors that we considered while conceiving the legacy waste project. We actually basically studied multiple models that were carried out across the country. Just before me, the speaker presented the case of Bhopal. So we referred to Bhopal, we referred to Indore, and we thought what could work out the best for us, because we realized none of the cities that we studied had this unique problem. None had a terrain that was slopey, where the difference between the top and the bottom was about 30 meters in height, and none had persistent rainfall like what Mangalore had. And there was no other alternative dump site also to close this site. The immediate orders from the Pollution Control Board was to close this site, but unfortunately we still do not have any other area in the city which is plain, where we could dump waste till an alternative solution is found. Of course, now we are enhancing the processing capacity and the dumping of waste has come to a minimum, but at that point of time we had to deal with the daily problems. So first we started thinking on whether incineration could be taken up through waste to energy models. In fact, KPCL had come forward to prepare a DPR to this effect to handle both legacy waste as well as daily waste management through waste to energy. But then we realized the scales and volumes won't be adequate, because they said at least 500 tons per day has to be generated to ensure that incineration works. Then we moved to bioremediation, just like what was explained in Bhopal. And there again we thought how we could play with the cost to ensure that we could carry out this smoothly. So we analyzed three kinds of model, which I will be subsequently explaining also, on how to take up the cost benefit analysis and what will work best for Mangalore. And we also had to take care of so many other costs, because we had to not just processing, we also had to ensure that the RDF is properly handled, the leachate is properly handled, there is no odor and no smell, because there were residences surrounding the area. We had to ensure that they were not getting affected anymore by it. And we also had to, more importantly, had to handle the daily accumulation of waste in it. And for options of financing, we looked into various central and state finance grants and our own revenue sources as well. But however we saw it, we realized that we are heading into an inadequate terrain and territory, and we had to come up with something innovative to solve the problem. And as I explained previously, we had various other location issues also. So as far as the execution is concerned, as I said, the terrain was slopey, no other land was available. And again, because of heavy rainfall, processing, doing bioremediation after heavy rainfall is also very, very difficult, because without the waste getting dried, without getting the moisture out, as one of the speakers rightly explained, it is almost next to impossible to process the waste. So moisture had to be taken out, and so we calculated that we are going to be getting only 5 to 6 months per year where we can actively process the waste, because 4 months of rainfall and 2 months of drying, so 6 months approximately gets lost. So this we had to get the best of machinery to do it, because any time that is getting lost, especially in the productive months from November to May, was going to be one step towards more danger. And again, handling RDF was a bigger issue, because since from Mangalore the closest cement factory was about 700 kilometers away, and we also had the Western Ghats in between. So the transportation cost, when we asked for quotations and when we called for tenders, were coming to about 2,500 rupees to 3,000 rupees per ton. We knew that not at that point of time to handle the regular mixed waste was okay, but in the longer run we knew that that is not going to work out at all, that it was not a sustainable way to handle things at all. So with this, so we thought how we could go ahead and execute it. So with the three models, we thought, if we are going to completely outsource the project, then we are going to have problems in having control over the project. And if you are going to invest in plant and machinery, here, unlike other cities, apart from plant and machinery, even the other civil infrastructure works that had to be undertaken to ensure that the plant and machinery installed itself was huge, because we did a rough estimate and we thought if the plant and machinery for having 4 lines of bioremediation, trommels and everything is going to cost about 12-13 crores, then the civil infrastructure required to set that up, because we had to cut hills, set up flat terrains and everything. So it was again going to cost 6 crores just for the foundation and to set up sheds alone. So that was a major issue. And we also thought how this could be made as a revenue generating project, at least partly. So that angle was also explored into. And so this with all this, we thought we'll also go for competitive bidding, taking up QCBS method for tendering rather than the lowest cost method, because we thought this is a very critical project and just going for L1 model might not be very useful. So for as far as going for an adoption of a model is considered, we first evaluated turnkey model, where the contractor will come and install and everything, but as I said earlier, the risk will be very, very high. And we thought for this kind of critical project with so many factors that were already hinging upon us, we thought that would not be a very bright idea. So second, we thought whether we can rent all the equipment and MCC itself can handle it, but then we realized with the we have a shortage of staff and everything, and with that will be impossible to run the project on our own. And also renting also didn't make sense at that point, because we thought if we are going to use it only for 5 months, still we are going to pay the rent for the whole year. It ended up the cost ended up being more than the cost of actually investing and purchasing it. So we went with the third model, with the hybrid model, where we purchased the equipments but still had an outsourced contractor to run it. So the assets were transferred in the name of MCC, so that if there are some other issues with the contractor running away tomorrow also, we thought we could still go ahead and handle it. We at least had the machineries with us, and we also had a control of what machineries are going to be installed, what is the quality of the equipments that are going to be used and all of it. So these are the reasons why we went with the hybrid model. So and here also we only fixed on the machineries, and as far as we from various other models, we realized it was the RDF transportation costs that were actually running very, very high, and we thought that if we are leaving that end open in the tender, we do not force anyone in the estimates to only transport it to a cement factory or anything. So we left RDF disposal as a model open in tender, so that we thought let people come ahead and use their technological skills and find alternative methods. Because when we were doing our pre-bid evaluation, someone came to us and told that they can use pyrolysis method. Someone said that they can use other types of technologies where they can in situ process the RDF also. So that is what we are also looking at. And we also estimated what sort of revenue the contractor might get from the existing dump site in terms of sale of recyclables and compost. So this was also taken into account. So as far as the project cost rates are concerned, the major calculation went into cost of civil structures and fixed plant and machinery, and also operation and maintenance. AMC for this was calculated for a period of 5 years. And also all other incidental charges like manpower and material handling charges were considered. And more importantly, revenue from disposal cost was considered, and that was deducted from it. So these are the rough numbers in which we handled it. So the fixed cost in terms of machinery and civil projects came out about 19 crores. On the operation cost, we estimated for a period of 4 years. Since we thought it normally takes for 9 lakh tons of waste based on all the calculations, it was taking about 20 to 24 months. So we are going to get only 5 to 6 months a year. So we thought 4 years will be the period that will be required at maximum. So we estimated for a period of maximum 4 years. But at the same time, if we also put an incentive clause in the tender saying that if someone finds a way to do it faster, we are going to provide them with monetary incentives. So that was also added. And as the last but previous column, we have also deducted the cost of recyclable materials. We have taken 3% as the value of recyclables that you can deduct. So we deducted from the total cost so that to make the tender more competitive. So this was the final price of the contract that was awarded. So the total project cost came to about 56 crores, or to approximately about 620 rupees per ton, including both operational and fixed costs. But since the fixed costs themselves were higher, they themselves were coming to about 212 tons. So the operating costs came out directing the sale of recyclables to be about 413 rupees. So which we believe is one of the lowest that has ever come out of bidding. And actually this was not the lowest cost. As I told you earlier, we use QCBS method. So we wanted to ensure that the right person also takes it. But anyway, this is a work in process, and we'll have to see how the outcomes actually turn out to be. So as far as financing is concerned, so we applied for soft loan from KUDFC, who agreed to sponsor, give a loan of 70% of the project, not sponsor, but loan of 70% of the project, and the remaining 30% we agreed to bear from our own sources. So RDF processing, the contractors agreed to set up a pyrolysis plant, so that eventually cuts down cost to a great extent, which could actually be sort of a game changer. But again, that risk we have drafted upon him, because if that is not coming out successful, then he has to bear the cost for transport to alternative sites or to cement factories. So so the question that eventually came when the tender was being discussed and the conditions were discussed was, how do you ensure that the safeguards are given? What if, because you are going to own up the machinery, what if he installs the machinery and what if the contractor is going to run away? How are you going to manage it at 413 rupees? Who is going to come? To ensure that we, in the RFP only, we included certain clauses where we ensure that only 50% of the cost of the machinery is paid upfront, and the remaining is paid only in terms. So until the second year of the operations are over, he does not get up to 95%. So this ensures that the contractor who has bid also stays in and operates the project, and there is no scope for manipulation here. So, and again, the payment on operation cost is also based on per ton basis. So, and that also we have coupled with IoT tools to ensure that per ton base is also strictly maintained. And another reason why we have considered only 5 months is because in monsoon season, the weight of the garbage will be higher because of moisture content. So that clause has also been included, so that the weight of the garbage is not increased, and that manipulation is also can be avoided. So as I said, 413 rupees is what has come out, and probably in the same scope and terrain, this might consider to be the cheapest in the country. So we'll have to see how the pyrolysis comes up. So the contractor has already shown us trials from elsewhere, but in a large scale way, once he has already started to set up. So probably in 3-4 months we'll be able to see how successful it pans out. So if we are able to realize it, then the vision of actually having a low carbon footprint can actually be achieved. So I think all the other things have been explained. So this is the rough sketch of the project site actually. So the downside of the road, whatever we see, is where the garbage has slid. So sector 3 and sector 2, sector 3 is where the original waste was, and sector 2, 1A and 1B is where the waste presently is. So we'll have to actually see how this comes up, and probably I hope that in 6 to 7 months more time we'll be able to showcase how it has worked. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, all of us might be thinking there might be some questions. Because of the interest of time, there are another 3 more presentations to go. After the 3 presentations, if time permits, we'll call back all the speakers and then questions can be posed. Also, if you're not able to ask the questions, they are also available offline in the lunch session. So don't worry about it. Your doubts will be cleared this either offline or in the straight mode. Thank you. I would now request Sri Ritesh Saini, Nodal Officer and also of Ambikapur Municipal Corporation, and Saurabh Roy, City Mission Manager from Municipal Corporation Ambikapur, to kindly come over for the presentation on zero landfill model, case of Ambikapur, Chhattisgarh.
Good afternoon all. I am Ritesh Saini, Nodal Officer SBM Ambikapur Municipal Corporation, and thanks for the organizer to giving this opportunity to showcasing the Ambikapur model in Bangalore. And in this regard, I would request to Mr. Saurabh Roy, please continue and as fast as you can to present the Ambikapur model. I will hear.
Good afternoon, all of you. I am Saurabh Roy, working as a City Mission Manager with Municipal Corporation Ambikapur. To start with, I'll like to brief you that we have broken the presentation in basically 4 segments. The first segment will cover the profiling of the city. The second segment will cover the collection and transportation of the waste that we created. The third segment will cover the remediation that we that took place in Ambikapur, and fourth and the last segment would cover the challenges that we faced while remediation of our landfill city. So before we start, let us quickly have a look at the city profile. Ambikapur is a city located at the northern part of Chhattisgarh. It is a district and a divisional headquarter, and it has a population of less than 1.5 lakhs. The total number of wards that we have is 48. Total 135 collection bits we have. Number of households accounts to around 27,500. As far as commercial establishments are concerned, we are at 4,110. Bulk waste generators we have 10. Secondary segregation centers we have 17, and 1 tertiary segregation center. Now the principles on which Ambikapur model was framed way back in 2015, even before the solid waste management rule came into existence, the basic principles that we focused were converting the waste that was generated in the city to resources. We focused on decentralized collection of waste. Also, we thought of a setting up a mechanism which is easy and simple to operate. And since Ambikapur Municipal Corporation is not a very big municipal corporation, so budget was always an issue. So we have to come up with an idea, low cost, effective idea to really address the menace of waste management. And we also focused on the 3R compliant mechanism, and the entire process or the entire mechanism that we have developed needs to be financially viable, because during in 2015 we were not expecting much more support from the state government or the district administration. And over and above, we also plan to really put in place a system which can be easily replicable to other small cities as well. So this is a segregation mechanism we have. We started the entire process way back in 2015, before the solid waste management rule came into existence. So we don't have many more case studies or cities to refer upon. So we had to develop local techniques, local resources we have to use to really come up with a mechanism to deal with the legacy waste. We practice a 3-tier segregation system, one at the household level, the second at the secondary segregation centers, and the third at the tertiary segregation centers. We have involved SHGs in the entire process of collection and processing of the waste on the same day. Around 34 SHGs has been federated, and this federation came in, enter into a contract with the municipal corporation for the collection and processing of waste. So the manpower issue or sourcing out to the other agencies, this issue was addressed by the local SAGs, and this is a classic example of convergence of National Urban Livelihood Mission with the SBM model. As far as infrastructure is concerned, we have material recovery centers, manual and battery operated tricycles. We have provided PPE equipments, weighing machines that were provided by the municipal corporation. Apart from that, we have for the primary segregation, we have conducted massive IEC programs addressing all the stakeholders in the city, starting from the schools, colleges, wards, and the different associations like the Truck Owners Association, the Colony Association, and others. As far as technology is concerned, we have evolved with a real-time ICT-based attendance system for the workers to register their attendance once they come. And we have a mobile application, and we have GPS-enabled tricycles to track the movement of the vehicles. So a citizen sitting in Ambikapur can easily track the location of the tricycle so that they can provide the daily waste. This is a picture, as you are seeing, is a typical SRLM center that we have in Ambikapur. As far as the institutional mechanism is concerned, we have a Swachh Ambikapur Mission City Level Federation, a federation of SAGs who has been given the task of collection and processing of waste. And it consists of 471 women members who are trained and selected from NULM. We have 17 garbage clinics, technically a solid and liquid resource management center. That is a well-ventilated workshed spacious designed for waste segregation. We have one tertiary segregation center in place, wherein we segregate the inorganic items into 139 categories. We have double chambered rickshaws, manual and battery operated. We have a baling unit to segregate dry waste in the garbage clinics. We have a composting unit. We have a biodigester plant that is being experimented in one of the segregation center, although its replication is yet to take place. And we have engaged vendors for the various inorganic items that we segregate in our tertiary and the secondary segregation centers. And we have consultants on board, and we conduct medical checkups for the SAG women in every quarter. And this entire process is monitored through a MIS system, and we have regular meetings held by the district collector as well. This is a typical day of waste collection in Ambikapur. The process starts with the registering attendance. Then the green warriors, we call the Safai Didis, they go out with their manual and battery operated tricycles in their respective 135 beats. They collect the waste from door to door and other establishment. They come back to the center, segregate the waste on the same day. The organic is segregated in 17 categories, and the inorganic is segregated in 20 categories. The inorganic then goes for washing and then are kept for selling. And the organic part we segregate in 20 categories that are segregated and are used in the compost pit for composting. So this is the segregation mechanism, the primary segregation that takes place at the household level. The municipal corporation have distributed dustbins to the households, wherein they segregate the waste into dry and wet, and we have asked the citizens to use another dustbin for hazardous waste as well. The secondary segregation center that takes place in 17 SRLM centers, wherein 17 organic and 20 inorganic segregation takes place, and at the tertiary segregation center we segregate the items in 139 categories. It is wrongly mentioned 156. Actually, the entire processing of the inorganic items that we do in Ambikapur is 156 categories. The basic idea is the more we segregate, the more the revenue we earn. These are some pictures of the Safai Didis working in the center, segregation, cleaning of organic waste. You can see the eggshells they are separating. We are making powders out of eggshells. We are making powders out of lemon peels. These are used in rural areas for washing dishes, and the eggshells powder are used as fish feeds. We have also introduced partners like cows, and as you are seeing in the videos, we have introduced cows and hens to be reared in the SLM centers, because that adds on or the generates revenue for the SHG women. This is the tertiary segregation center. This is the tertiary segregation center. Tertiary segregation center. And at the tertiary segregation center, we are making granules out of the single-use white plastics. And we are running a plant in a PPP mode where the municipal corporation have provided space, and the machinery, and then the plant and machinery has been installed by the third party. And the granules that they produce are sold to the recyclers, which are then again come back to us in the form of plastic items that we use in our day-to-day life, like buckets and mugs. As far as the colored single-use plastics are concerned, they are compressed and baled to be used as RDF in the cement plants. As far as reporting and monitoring is concerned, we have installed CCTV cameras in each and every SRLM centers to actually monitor the movement of the Safai Didis, and they have been asked to clean their centers by the end of the day, so that the next day they come to the center, they can start up with a new energy. This is one more picture of deploying technology at the place. Now coming to the zero landfill status, how we did it. We have a total around 28,000 household and around 4,100 other establishment and 10 bulk waste generators. So we have a 100% door-to-door collection mechanism. We have 100% transportation of waste processing to processing centers. We recover 100% of the waste, because the SRLM centers are not located outside the city. It is located very much within the city in dense habitation of the city. So if the waste is not processed on the same day, we people living around would have come up with a complaint. So we have ensured that the waste that we collect on a daily basis, that accounts for around 45 to 51 metric tons a day. And that too 70% of the waste comprises of the wet waste, and the 30% of the waste comprises of the dry waste. So 100% composting of wet waste we do, 100% selling of recovered waste. We are left with no inorganic items after processing of the waste, because we have entered into a contract with the vendors, and we have vendors for each and every item that we recover from segregation. And as a matter of fact, we are left with zero waste to be sent to the landfill. So this is one of the achievements that Ambikapur has achieved in 2017, and based on this Ambikapur model, the entire state has implemented a program called Mission Clean City, wherein the Ambikapur model has been replicated in the entire state of Chhattisgarh. Now, as far as the remediation of the dump site is concerned, we have a dump site located just before the onset of the city. Like one who is coming from the state capital to Ambikapur has to come across the dump site location. So it was spread across an area of 16 acres of land, and like other cities, before 2015 we were left with no ideas as to how to really go about it. So my previous speakers has already discussed how to go about it, and we did the same thing. Excavation was done, then water sprinklers, spraying of bacteria inoculum and water was done, and then there was a holding period of around 7 days, and then the same process was continued, and within a record period of 4 months we have reclaimed the entire dump site. Around 16 acres of land were reclaimed, and that cost around 25 crores, and the entire thing was done in a record time of 4 months. So the key challenges that we faced way back in 2015, we don't have any technical agencies to hire the services. Apart from that, a budget was also a constraint for the ULB, small ULB like Ambikapur. So we have to come up with local ideas, local techniques, and that was one more challenge. And Ambikapur being a small city and located in a remote area, environment engineers or consultants were not ready to really come up to Ambikapur to provide the technical services. Apart from that, implementation was also a challenge. Hiring of manpower was also a challenge. So these challenges were addressed by local resources, local scientists, local developments, and support from the citizens as well. So these are the challenges we have faced, and we have remediated the landfill site in 2017, and we have in the process we have created around 471 green jobs, and it was done in a period of 4 months, and the cost of reclaiming the dump site was 1 crore compared to the DPR that we have managed to bring from other consultants that they were asking for 6 crores. So it was around almost 10 to 20% of the cost at which we have reclaimed the entire dump site. Thank you.
Well, I'm pretty sure our speakers would appreciate the concerns of time, because we wanted to make it more interactive. That's the reason. Thank you very much. We straight away move on to the next presentation, Effective Management of Legacy Waste, case of NOIDA. I would request Dr. Avinash Tripathi, OSD of NOIDA, to kindly come over. And 10 minutes, sir. If I intervene, don't consider me as a villain. It's just in the interest of time. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Avinash Tripathi and working as OSD in NOIDA Authority. Today I am going to discuss something about our efforts towards effective management of legacy waste. I will focus mainly on our success story in sector 54, though we are also doing the same thing and replicating the same model in sector 145. So this slide shows some recent achievements of NOIDA in field of sanitation. In the last Swachh Sarvekshan 2021, NOIDA was awarded India's cleanest medium city and ranked category 1 in 3 to 10 lakh population category, and we have been also awarded 5-star garbage free city rating. Regarding some demographics of city, the area of city is around 203 kilometers, and the population is around 10 lakh, though we have floating population around 2 lakh also, and this is the main concern. So we have more than 5,000 workers, both on muster roll as well as the regular staff to take care of sanitation of Noida, and we have deployed around 320 motorized vehicles, and around 31 vendors are on board for sanitation works. So we have 2 dump sites which have been remediated in recent past. We have 14 C&D collection points and 1 C&D processing center as well. We have 20 transfer stations for effective transfer of the municipal solid waste. So this is the background. I will not go into the detail, as our previous speaker, Honorable Justice Sir, he has emphasized that we need to keep a close watch on the generation of waste, so that we should not add on the legacy waste. So we used to collect only segregated waste, though we need to work more on this aspect. We have deployed 201 mini tippers and 56 secondary vehicles for collection and transportation of waste, and all are partitioned vehicles to transport wet waste and dry waste separately. So I will not go into detail. This is an important aspect. Noida is dedicated, and Noida is supporting RWAs and AOAs in establishment of the wet composting machines and biomethanization plants. Noida supports in terms of 75% capex and 20% of capex from CSR support if it possible. We have a few material recovery facilities also. 2 RDF stations are there, and the waste is being segregated in 14 categories there: glass, metals, plastic bottles, so that the valuables can be sold out, and the burden on the already existing legacy waste can be minimized. We are also processing our horticulture waste by our own. We have deployed some leaf crusher machines at nurseries to process the horticulture waste. We are also digging composting pits in our gardens, green belts and parks. So we are closely monitoring this entire process through our ICCC. We can monitor the movement of vehicles, processing of C&D waste, processing of this legacy waste. We monitor it regularly. So this is the case study which I am going to discuss in detail. I will directly come to this slide. This is the approach and methodology. Previous speakers have discussed it in detail, but what method we have applied in Noida is bioremediation. The first stage is pre-stabilization, where we convert the dump in windrows, and bioculture and inoculum is sprayed on that along with the deodorizer, and then processing and segregation takes place. And after proper segregation, RDF is sent to nearby cement companies, and the bio-earth is provided to local farmers for their farms and to our nurseries and green belts also, and that is used for filling purposes. And C&D debris, now we have a very good C&D waste processing plant in sector 80, so we transport entire C&D waste to that processing station for proper disposal of C&D waste. So this is a view. You can see the images of pre-stabilization, then segregation, and the outcome. The good earth is sent to horticulture department and local farmers, and rocks and inerts for low-lying areas, as well as for processing to C&D waste plant, RDF to factory. These images are showing some before and after stages of that 54 dump yard, and now this is the current situation. We have not reclaimed only our wasteland, but we have developed it into a wetland. Now it has been developed into a beautiful park. We have developed a walkway of around 2 kilometers, and we have used the water from sewage treatment plants to fill the wetland, and children park has also been developed, and now this place is developed as a tourist spot, you can say. This is surrounded by several residential sectors, and most of the morning walkers, they don't go to other parks, they use this walkway or skyway, you can say, for their morning walk. So this is a summary. We have reclaimed around 1 lakh metric ton of waste here, and we generated around, means this waste after processing generated around 20,000 metric ton of RDF, which was transported to nearby cement factories, and around 69,000 metric ton bio-earth was recovered, which was provided to our farmers and other nurseries. Around 12.5 acres of land was remediated in this project. This site is now developed as picnic spot, and the project was also awarded under the Smart City Mission Award in 2020. So I have discussed this already. There were some challenges in this project, as the site was very close to the habitation, as I discussed in previous slide, and the site has high trespassers, resulting in very huge security issues. So security was deployed to proceed with the reclamation in a smooth manner, and sprinklers and deodorizers were used to cover up the smell. And the plant was required to be set up in a low laying area, which was about 2 meters below from the normal ground level. So water stagnation was always a challenge. So localized bunds were made to stop water ingress, and quick turnaround was achieved by running plant 22 hours a day. Then there were other challenges also in this project, but we mitigated those. Now this project was replicable, and we have replicated the same model in sector 145, and we are continuing this. In sector 145, we have reclaimed around 10.7 acres of land, and here we have processed around 6.75 lakh metric ton of legacy waste using the same bioremediation process. Here we have recovered around 1.47 lakh metric ton of RDF and transported to the cement factories, and more than 3.17 lakh metric ton of bio-earth was recovered, which was provided to the nearby farmers, and around 81,000 metric ton of CND waste was recovered, which was used for filling of low-lying area as well as for processing. This is a small video. I think I have 2 more minutes, so can I play this? Okay. This is in Hindi. I think most of you can understand it.
नोएडा अथॉरिटी द्वारा बायो रेमेडिएशन प्रक्रिया के जरिए ठोस कचरे को उपचारित किया जा रहा है। प्राधिकरण द्वारा सेक्टर 145 में 3.85 लाख मीट्रिक टन से ज्यादा कचरे को उपचारित कर इसे मिट्टी में परिवर्तित किया जा चुका है। इससे पहले सेक्टर 54 में 1 लाख मीट्रिक टन कचरे का बायो रेमेडिएशन प्रक्रिया से निस्तारण किया जा चुका है। बायो रेमेडिएशन प्लांट में सबसे पहले ठोस कचरे को यूज कर बायो कल्चर का छिड़काव किया जाता है, फिर विंड रोज बनाकर लगभग 10 दिन के लिए छोड़ दिया जाता है ताकि कंपोस्टिंग प्रक्रिया बढ़ाने वाले जीवाणुओं की वृद्धि हो सके। इसके बाद वेस्ट की स्क्रीनिंग और छनाई की जाती है, जिससे मिट्टी प्राप्त होती है। प्लांट में ठोस अपशिष्ट को उपचारित कर 70% कंपोस्ट, 20% RDF और 7% पत्थर में परिवर्तित किया जा रहा है। कचरे से 3% मॉइस्चर निकल जाता है। नोएडा प्राधिकरण द्वारा सेक्टर 54, 145, 68 और सेक्टर 138 में कुल 5 लाख मीट्रिक टन कचरे को बायो रेमेडिएशन प्रक्रिया के जरिए उपचारित किया जाना है। ये परियोजना शून्य लैंडफिल अप्रोच पर आधारित है, जिसमें भूमि का 100% सुधार करने का लक्ष्य है। यहाँ पर्यावरण के नियमों का पूरी तरह से पालन किया जा रहा है। ठोस अपशिष्ट के उपचार की इस प्रक्रिया से डंप साइट के आसपास के इलाके प्रदूषण मुक्त होंगे और भूजल का स्तर भी बढ़ेगा। डंप साइट रेमेडिएशन प्लांट उत्तर प्रदेश की सफलतम परियोजनाओं में शुमार है, जिसके अंतर्गत वेस्ट साइट को क्लियर कर वेटलैंड में परिवर्तित कर दिया गया है। इस परियोजना को स्मार्ट सिटी एम्पावरिंग इंडिया अवार्ड 2019 बेस्ट अर्बन डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट ग्रीनफील्ड डेवलपमेंट की श्रेणी में विजेता घोषित किया गया था।
So this was all about our success story in Sector 54 and our ongoing story in Sector 145. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Avinash Tripathi. And from Noida, we straight away come back to Namma, Karnataka, the Chikkaballapur case, legacy waste remediation in a small town. We have the environmental engineer of DMA, Shri Lohith D. Bani Lohith.
Thank you very much. Myself Lohith. I'm environmental engineer in DMA. Previously, I was working as a municipal commissioner in CMC Chikkaballapur. So we have done a few things in CMC Chikkaballapur, particularly on if you talk about especially on legacy waste in smaller towns, we have two components. We should concentrate on two components. That is, one is on management of solid waste management in at city level, and second is operation and maintenance of landfill site. So these two are directly proportional. If you lose one thing, here garbage mountains will increase at landfill site. So that is why first we have concentrate on maintenance of operation maintenance of solid waste management in city limit. That is, we have concentrate on segregating 100% door-to-door collections and segregating waste. And for actually we were getting 25 tons of waste. 25 tons in that 25 tons we were getting almost 10 tons of wet waste. We have started processing for 10 tons. So we have introduced some innovative methods like bamboo composting and decentralized bamboo composting. Even STP plant we were having one separate bamboo composting unit. We made it. And even we have started segregating biomedical waste. So this is what bamboo composting at STP site, that is decentralized method. Almost 10 tons of wet waste, 1 ton 750 kg we were sending it to biomethanation plant, and remaining plants we were decentralizing. We were using for processing by using bamboo composting and vermicomposting. So remaining some fresh vegetable waste we were using for, even we were introduced cow farming and duck farming also. We have purchased 100 ducks at STP plant. Those ducks are, even that those ducks are cleaning STP plant. Simultaneously we are feeding this vegetable waste to the ducks. The ducks were giving almost 50 eggs per day. And even per day we almost we are getting 350 kgs of vermicompost. And from biomethanation plant almost 50 to 70 units we are getting. From that almost around 12 to 15 the street lights we are burning from the directly we can collect as from the waste only. So next. And when for giving motivation to our porokarmikas and all, we have just grown with fresh vegetables from the landfill site, and just we have distributed to our porokarmikas. Actually, before this, we have trained our porokarmikas. We have taken our porokarmikas to other cities like Madugiri and Bashetelli. The one porokarmikas, they become like a health inspectors. And for dry waste, we did actually Ambikapur model. What we did, we have some labor issues. So we are just directly tied up with some local dry scrap dealers. So they have secondary segregator people they have. So we tied up with them. We just brought them to our DWCC center. One is at CMC Chikkaballapur and one is at landfill site. So those people came here and they started segregating, and almost from them for our carmakers, they are getting around 4 to 5,000 rupees. It's like an incentive for them. And coming to legacy, we have lot many challenges were there. Like, first we initially we have called for a tender. So one person has participated. It was single tender and he got the tender. But only after he took the tender, only 5 months he ran the tender. So unfortunately he ran away. So later we don't have infrastructure to clear the legacy waste. Then what we decided, within 3 to 4 months, we purchased one JCB and all infrastructure machineries like JCB, tractor, and even screening machines. We have purchased all the machines within 4 to 5 months, and we have started ourselves. So we have taken help from BORDA team. The young team, they just came us and they prepared a separate DPR for us. The new DPR. Initially we were calculated around 35,000 tons. Later our BORDA team, they came and they surveyed, they made a counter survey. They approximated around 43,000 tons of metric tons of legacy waste. By using them, we have started segregating by using our own machineries, like all 4 mm screening machines and 35 mm screening machines, and we developed shed also. So we have started screening. Almost 43,000 tons were there. So we started getting biosoil, that is compost material. So we started selling to the farmers. Initially we gave it to free of cost because they were not believing this is going to be useful for us or not. Later when they've grown well for grape crops and all. So later they come up and we have collected almost 2 lakhs rupees from the biosoil or compost material from legacy waste. So these are the phases we can see. The first phase, and we have made it to 3 phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. For phase 1, we have started 2.5 acres we have already cleared. So we are just doing, so per metric ton we are almost getting 450 rupees per ton, because we are just doing. Later in the phase 2 and phase 3, it's almost comes around 1 year of time. So we're going to clear the whole legacy waste from CMC Chikkaballapur. And major challenges are in summer season, seasonal challenges, like in summer season firing is the major issue, and in rainy season raining is the major issue. When firing comes, again the whole legacy will start firing, and even our infrastructure will also start firing. But in rainy season the whole legacy will become wet, so again it has to dry. So we brought all wetted legacy inside the shed, and again we made them dry, and again we started segregating by screening machines. And even disposal of RDF is also very challenging task, because there is no cement factory nearby our Chikkaballapur town. Actually we spoke to Hindupur cement factory, even they are also willing to take, but unfortunately for RDF, one trash can company, they came forward and they started they're planning to make some material from our RDF material, so they took all material from our side. Yeah, processing of fresh waste and legacy waste simultaneously is a challenge, because we have to concentrate at both sides. We have to start in city limit and in landfill site also. Then only we can achieve these things. If we concentrate here, we'll lose here. If we concentrate here, we'll lose here. Simultaneously, we have to start. Otherwise, per day, our production is 25 tons per day. If we are not going to do any processing at in city limit, again the whole 25 tons will become legacy waste. And so in smaller towns, what happened, usually the private players, they won't come forward because of maybe profit margin. Usually, the one it's happened to us. One person came and he took the tender and again he ran away. So these are the things will be there. And because of legacy, the local constraints and obstructions will be common because of odor and fire, smoke, etc. So 100% suggestion is the that is the ultimate solution for this. And ban on single-use plastics. Actually, in CMC Chikkaballapur, we have banned 100% single-use plastic, even including plastic cups, paper cups. So that should be the motto. And decentralized and affordable technical solutions like sustainable solutions, like cow farming, duck farming, and even we can use. So people will go for enzyme culture. So we have when we use cows, cow dung and all, that will going to be a big enzyme culture for us. And prioritizing infrastructure, actually, usually what happen, we'll go for vermicide and compound wall and all. We have cheaper cost material, even vermicide is also not required. So instead of vermicide, we can easily prepare vermicompost. So instead of going for drainage and even compound wall also. So other alternatives are there, like slab interlocking compound wall is there. So cost will be more than 70% of the cost we can reduce from it, like that. And main thing is IEC. That is the main important thing. So BORDA team also helped us a lot, especially in giving IEC activities, particularly for our Parakarmikas and to our councillors and to our all officers. So this is what we have done in CMC Chikkaballapur. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shri Lohith D. We are really running out of time. So I think all the speakers will be available as we have a lunch break now. So please have your lunch in the third floor. Kindly go to the third floor and show the ID which has been given to you in the morning, and the lunch will be served to you. And do try to come back in another 45 minutes, though I think that should be enough. Yeah. Thank you very much, and enjoy your lunch, and see you all in the afternoon once again. Thank you very much.